want to take a moment to thank everyone who has already subscribed to this channel. I truly appreciate your support. On this next episode of Overcoming Addiction, I'm going to share my thoughts on the true source of addiction. Stay tuned and start your own conversation on this subject. Well, hello again, and thanks for joining. Today, I want to talk about something that I haven't really discussed on this channel in a while, and that's going back to substance abuse. And the topic of this discussion will be the source of addiction. Now, I'm going to read this. It's from a chapter of an upcoming book. Now, as you all know, the bulk of the content I produce on this channel involves my efforts to help those who are struggling with abuse. Though my primary areas of discussions are aimed at the problem of substance abuse, I hope these discussions offer comfort, solutions, or simple guidance for those who suffer from abuse of any kind. Now, with that being said, let's get to the topic. What is the source of addiction? Whenever I ask this question, the immediate answer is drugs. The truth is, drugs are not the source of addiction. They are instruments used by an unseen force to propel one into addiction. Addiction itself is an instrument. Also, addiction is not limited to drug abuse. There are various reasons why someone decides to become a user, but there's only one reason a user becomes an abuser, and that is due to demonic possession. Using any type of unnatural substance opens up a gateway for demons to enter. Satan uses evil spirits as the driving force of addiction. Enduring 35 years plus of drug use, and up to this point 12 plus years of being drug free, has given me some insight into the area of addiction and the process of recovery. I have witnessed firsthand how evil spirits of addiction can cause someone to commit acts that defy their character. Those evil spirits can cause good people to do bad things to others and themselves. My biggest fear during all those years of abuse was not of getting caught in possession of illegal drugs by law enforcement, or what my family thought, or not even the possibility of overdose. My fears were of not having money and not finding drugs, because my biggest fear was having to go through the pains of withdrawal. That fear alone is what kept me under the control of Satan and his demonic addiction. At that time, my cravings were for drugs and were due to withdrawal symptoms. And it was the evil spirits that were funding my cravings. Because I survived and overcame my addiction, I now have an obligation to fulfill, which I alluded to at the beginning of this presentation. Now, as someone who has recovered from substance abuse, I believe that I, like others who have gone through the pains of abuse and overcome them, have the responsibility of reaching out in support of those who wish to be free from the demonic possession of substance abuse or abuse of any kind. One way I am attempting to do this is through social media. Another way is through the books that I have published. The first one is The Effective Use of Spiritual Tools, which I would invite those who have a problem with addiction to look at. And the second one will be out in the spring, and it's called The Pressures of Addiction, so be on the lookout for that. Substance abuse or abuse of any kind is not a mental or physical problem, as those who have never experienced it would categorize it. Abuse is a supernatural problem conducted by evil spirits that are manifested mentally and physically. It is an evil spirit that takes possession of a person and is then able to control their physical actions and alter their mental state. This type of spiritual hijacking or hacking, spiritual hacking as I call it, is done by evil spirits, and they're using what I would call evil viruses. And these viruses are also the cause of many of the illnesses, diseases, and especially the violence that exists in our society. This evil virus caused by demons has the same effect on our society, or the same effect on our society, that a computer virus has on a computer, and the same effect a suicide hijacker has on a plane. Simply put, demons are here to take control of our society or take it down. So, how does a sufferer begin the process of overcoming addiction? Well, there are a few steps that can be taken to overcome all forms of abuse. Clinical professionals only have the knowledge of how to treat the symptoms of abuse. And as treatments go, this is a reasonable place to start. It's a good first step. Because of the agony, the physical pain, and the mental anguish that accompanies addiction and other forms of abuse, the desire to get treatment for those symptoms is not so difficult. Getting treatment for those symptoms does require dedication, but the recovery process will require more. The next step will probably be the more difficult one, because it requires the sufferer to make a commitment, and that commitment has to grow from within. This is the step of finding and completing an extended treatment program that will empower a sufferer spiritually. This process of recovery requires an even greater commitment, and that's because this process requires the removal of demonic influences or bad habits that have accumulated over time. This process takes time and requires patience, because once demons take up residency in a person's body, they are extremely hard to evict and to keep out. No one can fight evil alone. That is why, to complete this step, the sufferer must have a spiritual connection with a supernatural source and dedicate themselves to fully relying on this supernatural source. This supernatural source has to be more powerful than the evil spirits that the sufferer is being possessed by. And there's only one source that has this type of power, and that is the source of all creation. Speaking from experience, once I made the commitment to spiritually connect with our Creator, I became transformed into someone who has no fear of ever returning to my addictive lifestyle. Now, I must add that I have had this confidence from the moment I left the 90-day treatment program that I was in. In fact, while I was there, I formulated a plan to address those demonic spirits that had once ruled over my life. That plan involved raising my spiritual level of consciousness, which has allowed me to become more aware of evil spirits whenever they are present. Developing a spiritual connection with our Creator protects us from evil spirits by giving us power over them. This development takes time, commitment, and patience. Now, I take great joy in knowing demons can no longer control my life. Though in certain instances they still try, especially while I am asleep. But prayer before bed usually diminishes their efforts. In fact, it has greatly diminished their efforts. Though all humankind are targets, Satan's top goal is to acquire the minds of our youth and all Christians. But he also wants to reacquire the mind of anyone who is a former addict. All are very high value targets for him. Though I imagine him just eating every demon that let an addict get away. Drugs are just one of the many tools Satan uses to deceive and rule mankind. It is a very powerful tool in the sense that it is used to manipulate people using fear and despair, which can generate and fuel other forms of evil acts. The danger imposing on our society today is the normalization of actions by those who are under the influence of evil spirits. You can hear more about that topic, the normalization of evil spirits, in my last video called Satanic Cults and Politicians. As I said, there are many causes for addiction, but there's only one source, and it's an evil source, and it's controlled by Satan. Many of the problems in society are formed by Satan. If anyone does not believe that demonic possession occurs daily, then they are going to be deceived by evil or Satan. Addiction, along with any kind of abuse, is a demonic possession. I am a witness of it. I have pretty much lived with evil spirits. So this is why I think it's important that I share this and try to get people to understand this. So if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. Listen, if anything that I discuss on this channel or share on this channel, if someone has a comment about or even is in disagreement about, please, you can contact me through the comment section or through the email address that I always provide here. I hope these help someone. That is the goal. And I also, my goal also is to start a conversation among those that may want to reach out and help others. Feel free to do so. Never turn your back on them. Spiritual warfare is real, and the battle has to be won. And we need all soldiers. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys tune in the next time for another episode of Overcoming Addiction.